Well, thank you for taking your time on your very busy Saturday to come and hang out with me. This has been a long time in the making. I have been so excited to do this conversation because you are definitely, hands down, one of the most crazy, like most interesting people I've ever met.
Oh,
Yeah, you should be touched. Okay. So first of all, go ahead and introduce yourself in whichever way you would like to.
okay. So how should I introduce? Well, hello, chat. I'm Lazy Turtle. I think I'm that guy in the chat that never shuts the fuck up. But Michael is my real boy name.
Mhm.
Either way is cool. It doesn't matter to me. Yeah. Hello, chat.
Great. Chat has already said hello. You're famous. You're famous. Um, so yeah. Um, let's talk a little bit about first of all, how how did you stumble upon my deity?
This is it's a pretty cliched story, I would say. So I think it was had to have been a Prime panel. You were on a Prime panel. It might have been one of the all black ones, or it might have been the one of the all female ones. I can't remember. Um, but I can't remember. There was a specific. He made a really good point. I can't remember now. I should know this. Um,
I just stay being base. What can I say?
and yeah, and I saw you. You know how you get the little recommendeds or whatever on the side of Twitch, and there was
Yeah.
like, I think there was like one or two people, and I just popped in and said hello because I'm like a fucking social butterfly and I can't help myself. So yeah, I dropped in and said hi, and then I think this might have even been before the Discord server.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
yeah, I think actually, like, you're part of the reason why we came up with the name for the Discord server. Like, when we
Bootstrap.
bootstraps, exactly. Yeah, so this is definitely before the Discord server, so you're like OG. Even though, like, really, I haven't been around for that long. Cornholio says that, let's be honest, it was when she said brap.
Oh
So,
yeah, absolutely. Yes, that's exactly what it was.
just the way she rolls those R's. And yeah, essentially, Michael here helped come up with the name, and then the rest is history. Um, Michael's also one of the only people that come to my study nights. So me and him have had several conversations, and I was like, okay, like this person, I must platform. Okay, it will not be irresponsible platforming, but I must platform.
Oh,
Um,
oh, it might be a little irresponsible.
it might be irresponsible, but like, the best part is that Michael here has amazing stories. So, yeah, I've been wanting, of course, to get you on every single conversation that there ever is when people start saying, actually, pharmacologically, these two substances are the same. And I'm like,
I wanted to kill Fnatic, dude. I still want to kill him. I hope he comes. I wish he would show up because I actually reached out to him on Twitter. Even like his DMs are closed.
okay,
Because he doesn't follow me back, asshole. But I even
fascism.
like I sent him a tweet and tagged him. I was like, hey buddy, if you ever want to like not even on stream, just like have a conversation about the difference between crack and powder cocaine, I would love to have that discussion with you because I understand the point he was trying to make, which is that pharmacologically they are exactly the same. However, um, there is a very, very large difference between crack and powder cocaine, and I personally know both of the drugs very, very well, more
but,
than your average person, I would
but
say.
Michael, however, do you know about these substances?
I'm an ex junkie, of course. Actually, that's how I should have. That's usually how I introduce myself.
Hi,
I
my
yeah,
name is Michael.
uh,
I'm
it's
an.
the AA thing. I seriously have the habit. Hi, my name's Mike, and I'm an alcoholic addict. Even though I was never really an alcoholic, but AA. Well, we don't have to get into AA lingo and stuff, but I did. I've been clean for 4 years now, but I was a very, very, very hardcore heroin addict. I did a lot of crystal meth, and I smoked a lot of crack. The the meth and the heroin I did IV, crack too. But yeah, so I was a hardcore drug guy. I died 4 times. Yeah, I'm the resident junkie, the resident Twitch junkie.
And chat asked, out of all the substances, you know, thinking of responsible platforming, which one was your favorite?
Heroin, oh my god. Uh, Listen, kids, don't ever fucking do any opiates ever, and we can get into how I got into it, but heroin is like it's better than sex, trust me. Okay, it's better than sex. It's the best feeling in the entire world. However, I shouldn't even be here because of heroin. I also stole from everyone, my family members included, because of heroin. So it'd be a really good idea to not do it. Especially nowadays with fentanyl. Fentanyl being the really really big problem. And how I died so many times.
Did do they mix fentanyl into heroin? Like,
Yeah, I watched a guy do it one time. So I used to like one of the ways I used to get drugs is I had a truck, and junkies usually don't have vehicles, so I was like a hot commodity. So like the local dealers would have me drive them around and like would give me a little bit of dope for driving them around and shit, and I'd hang out with them. Yeah, so I got to hang out with like I have interacted with many different groups and cultures, and I fit in anywhere. That's one thing I learned. In jail, I did really well. Rehab, anywhere I go. School, I transition from place to place pretty well. That being said, yes, I watched a drug dealer do this, and it ain't scientific. Let me tell you,
oh, you
they
watched
take the
them mix it in?
yeah,
Oh,
they take the fentanyl, which is usually like a tiny amount, is extremely potent and expensive, and then they take like the regular dope, like the heroin, and they literally just get on a table and just mix it together. And no wonder I died. The one time I died was from uh so my worst overdose, the one where I had to get Narcan several times. I had been doing about probably $120 worth of heroin a day, maybe more if I could get my hands on it, but 120 was about how much money I could get my hands on. That day, a $20 bag. I had to get Narcan 4 times, IV Narcan 4 times from a $20 bag. So if you want to know how shit like that happens, it's I watched the guy mixing it up like I must have got, the batch that had a lot of fentanyl in it, and
oh
it put me down.
man, as someone that has had to spend time in chem labs, the sound of just sitting there, like, I'm just gonna mix it up, is so. Oh, that's egregious. Oh Lord. Okay. Yeah. And
That's how it be going down.
what's the purpose? Just to prolong it, I guess, or just to make? Yeah. What is the logic behind mixing it in?
So it's stronger. First of all, it's like it's gonna add potency to like whatever batch you have, and also you can mix it with like not heroin too. You could just mix it with powder. Like we used to get I can't remember the brand. It's like a generic brand of sleep aid that were capsules with brown powder, and we'd mix it in with that. Because the brown powder kind of looks like heroin, although heroin comes in so many different colors. But brown powder is sort of generally the most common type. And I watch guys rip guys off, sell them a $20 bag of Benadryl, basically. That happens all the time. Uh, yeah, that drug world, the hard drug world, is it's nasty business. But yeah, so it's potent. So like a guy will get a batch of fentanyl, mix it into his dope, and it'll be really strong, and he'll get a bunch of people to sort of become regular customers. Other than that, I don't know if it was easier for these guys to get. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. I don't know where it started or where it came from, but it's dominating. I don't know. I guess I've been clean for 4 years, so I wouldn't know for sure. But when I was doing heroin, it was dominating the market, basically. Like basically everyone was selling and doing fentanyl.
By the way, I guess Boy G found you very interesting, so Boy G went ahead and subbed while you were talking. If you've never seen them before, Boy G, this is Lazy Turtle, the one and
Monka,
only.
Doobie, where? But I can't believe they're. Well, I need to put my prime
Pago!
rat dogs in chat.
Pago!
Oh, I'm coming. I never even put the stream on. I'm such a bad viewer.
I know, honestly. No doobie, please. But
All right, there we go.
yeah. Oh my lord. Oh, I hate that fucking thing. But So how did you end up getting involved with all of this in the first place?
You want me to go like back to the
Well,
beginning?
yeah, I mean, were you just having a bad day? You know, was life really hard? Well, okay, paso.
Okay, so no, I had a I'm a middle class white kid, okay? Grew up in kind of a small town, but we're about an hour east of Cleveland. It's called a little town called Ashtabula, and it's a shithole with nothing to do. It is drug addled. It is like the stereotypical Midwestern, you know, crystal meth and heroin run town. However, when I was a kid, so I'm 31. Um, so I got a job. I worked construction for years for this guy. um, my cousin dated his daughter, and he gave us all jobs. Me and my cousins. We were like 15, pouring concrete and shit, like crazy shit. But anyway, this guy was a stoner, huge stoner. So we smoked weed all day, every day. I played sports. I did real well in school. And I was high 24 hours a day. Like basically was high on marijuana all the time. Um, and it was never an issue. Like I said, I got good grades. I was definitely not lazy. I never got that association. I didn't even realize that that was a stereotype until later, because we were hardworking dudes and we smoked all day, every day. Um, and the guy I'm talking about who gave me the job, he kind of was like a slightly like a father figure to me a little bit. He was a hard ass, so he yelled at me every single day. He was one of those dudes that would like yell and scream at you, and then at the end of the day, like give you a hug and tell you that it's like one of those weird abusive relationships.
Well, that's a really weird stereotype that that all stoners are lazy. Literally, like the lead rocket engineer for the group that I'm a part of is like high all the time. He's just working. He's like working on the rocket. He's high as a fucking kite, but for some reason the rocket's beautiful. Best engineering you'll ever see in your life. I don't know what it is. I don't know
I
why it's a stereotype.
I think maybe if you're already a lazy person, maybe pot sort of enhances the laziness. Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, we you know we're smoking a lot of weed, and we started buying our own weed. Me and my cousins. There were four of us, all around the same age. We were buying weed from this kid that we went to school with, and we would buy quarter pound at a time to save money, basically. And because we were making we were all making like $20 an hour, and we were kids. Like I said, I'm from like a middle class ish white family, so I never wanted for anything. Definitely was not broke. Although my dad did get laid off a lot, but my mom's a nurse. She's always made good money. Anyway, and then on top of that, I wasn't paying any bills, and I was making $20 an hour. So we would buy lots of weed, okay, like a shit ton at a time. And the guy, this is so stereotypical. The guy we bought weed off of one day was like, "Hey, you guys want to try these pills? They're Percocets, 30 milligram Percocets." And we had no idea. Like, we were like, how do you do it? How much should we do? Um, he basically sold us two of them and told us to split them in half and have the four of us each take 15 milligrams. And this is how crazy this is. All of my cousins snorted theirs. I wouldn't even snort mine. I was that much of a prude. I was like, I would never snort. No, Uh, anyway, I take this 15
What's
milligram
the
Percocet.
utility in snorting it? It just goes down faster?
It
Just looks cool?
hits you faster, much faster. Okay, so
Okay.
they're all high instantly. I swallow mine and I don't feel anything. And I was bigger than all of them. I've always been kind of a bigger guy. And I thought maybe my tolerance was higher because they were a bunch of skinny dudes. I was like I was kind of like the shit kicker of the construction crew, basically. My job was to like swing at things with sledgehammers and like carry heavy shit. I was like a grunt.
Is
I
that the
never
sound
got
of toxic masculinity?
100%, 100%. And I gotta say, I'm not. I'm super left, and we can get into my political stances later. I'm super left wing or whatever, but I do think that there are some positive aspects to masculinity, and I do like being a man. Um, anyway, so after like a half hour, they still haven't kicked in. All my cousins are high as fuck, and I was like, this shit's bunk. Anyway, 15 more minutes go by, and all of a sudden, it comes on, and I will never ever forget that day. It was I was in love instantly. I instantly wanted more. I was just like, this is the best feeling I've ever felt. And before you knew it, me and my cousins were getting pills like every weekend. It's like one of those, oh, let's get a 30, and, eventually we stepped up to we were each doing a 30 milligram Percocet. Um, Before you knew it, within the year, we're doing them like as much as we can, basically as much as we can afford. And that was my first experience with dope
And,
sickness.
and this was like 16, right?
No, this was eight. By this time, I was 18.
Okay.
And yeah, once you get that first experience with dope sickness, anyone who's ever tried opiates or has ever, had a problem with them will know it is like, it's a nightmare. It's
Is that
hell.
like
It's
the cravings and like you're not able to get access to it, so you're kind of getting the withdrawal symptoms?
Yes, you get physical withdrawals. And they're pretty intense depending on how much you're doing. Pretty bad. It's like having the flu, only add like the worst anxiety you've ever felt in your entire life on top of the flu. That's kind of what being dope sick is like.
Have you seen Mr. Robot?
No, no, I haven't.
Okay. I was gonna ask if it was something like his withdrawal, but because uh, if if nobody knows, I'm a giant fucking square. I'm like the biggest square in the entire planet. So
No.
yeah. So I've never seen anybody ever go through withdrawal. Like I can't even tell when people are high. So there have been times where like I've tried to had full like very coherent conversations with people that are like high as tits, and like my friends are like, "Hey, right now is not the time to ask this person if they're gonna vote for you for the student union." And I was like, "Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, sorry." So I wasn't sure.
Yo, Cornholio in the chat brought one of the hydromorphones. When those started coming around, oh my god, dude. Opanas was the name brand of them. Oh man, those were when those were going around. When those first came out, people didn't understand that they were about twice as strong per milligram as oxycodone. So drug dealers were selling them for like the regular oxycodone price, and they were twice as strong. Obviously, this didn't last long, but those were some good days being a pill head when no one knew how strong hydromorphs were. By that time, I was living in Columbus. So yeah. So anyway, we all by the time I was 18, me and my cousins and we were all really bad. We were doing before you knew it, before my freshman year of college, I was basically doing pills almost every day, I would say, as much as I could get my hands on them.
So I mean, I'm guessing how I'm gonna give a number. I'm gonna say you were on for like about 10 years, roughly? About 10 years? Yeah. So,
Yep, just about.
okay. So, what would you say was one of your, I guess, more interesting stories that would come out of all of those I'm sure you definitely have I'm sure you have stories, but
There there are so many. So I can tell. For brevity, I guess we'll keep it to like maybe two, because I'll go on a little bit. So like that was the pill days weren't like all that exciting. I mean, obviously it was crazy. I was eventually I moved to Columbus, Ohio, basically because all my friends moved down there, and I got a job at this restaurant, and I became a manager, and I was stealing money. Um, I ran a stand at a baseball stadium. Okay, there's a AAA baseball team in Columbus. So it's the AAA affiliate of the Cleveland Indians. Go try.
there's no good baseball and good are not so not like those words don't tie.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit. So keep in mind, I'm doing pills, smoking weed every day. I also got a baseball scholarship. Speaking of, this is why I like baseball. Okay, and I went to school for 2 weeks and gave up the scholarship to move to Columbus because I hated baseball at the time. I was burnt out. Remember, I worked construction 40 hours a week, and I was playing baseball and going to high school. Um, After I graduated high school, I had no life. I mean, I had girlfriends and stuff, but I had no life, and I hated it. And I just wanted to get high and party. So I give up this scholarship, and to be fair, it was a 3/4 scholarship, it wasn't full. It was 7. It was 12 credit hours. But still pretty cool. So anyway, so I'm doing pills in Columbus. I'm stealing. I get caught stealing. Okay, and it's at this time that everyone figures out what's going on. My girlfriend at the time, my mom and dad. I finally get busted out because I get fired from this job. And my boss that fired me, it's so sad. We were both crying because he didn't want to fire me. It was horrible. It was
Oh,
horrible, man. It was terrible.
oh.
This is the shit that happens to you when you do drugs, kids. Okay, don't fucking do drugs because I have so many sad stories like that. It's terrible. Almost every relationship, I guess, except for the last couple ones, has been ruined because of drugs. Girls that I was with for years and years that I fucked it all up because I couldn't stop getting high. Anyway, so I moved back to where I'm at now, which is, like I said, it's Ashtabula, Ohio. I don't mind doxing myself. No one gives a shit. It's yeah, it's an hour east of Cleveland. Anyway, so I got back here, and by the time I had moved back here, pills were getting really hard to come by. Finally, state governments, and the federal government even were starting to crack down on pills. Doctors weren't prescribing them. In fact, all the people who are actually in real pain that can't get painkillers now, you can blame people like me. Okay, it's my fault because there were so many fucking pill heads. We had this huge opioid crisis because it was terrible. So anyway, the natural next step, the pills became super expensive, like out of reach expensive. I remember a time where I was having to pay about $90 to $100 just to not be dope sick. That's how expensive it got. Thus the stealing. This is why drug addicts steal, okay? Um anyway, so heroin was already huge here, and I knew some people who sort of I wanted it. I was asking around for it. I was ready. ready. I wanted to, I was addicted. And I started doing heroin. This was around 2014, maybe 2015, somewhere in there. Um, so yeah, I did heroin for years. I overdosed a bunch of times. Let's see. You want a crazy story?
Hit me.
All right. Well, I'll just tell that one the overdose story is a decent one. So I was with a different girl, who I had gotten together with like in a clean spot. I had been clean for like 3 months. Um, oh, would you know I cold turkey did. Actually, we'll get to that story later about how I got off. Um, I jailed. I went to jail. Okay, that's how I got clean. So the night I overdosed and I almost died. One of them, of the 4 times I overdosed, almost died. It was my birthday, and I had been clean for about 3 months. Um, and like I said, the girl I was with was sort of a family friend. I've talked to you about her.
Mhm.
You know, she was definitely one that got away or whatever. Um, anyway, I
Is
was
she
supposed
doing
to
okay,
meet
by the
her.
way?
Yeah, yeah, she's doing great.
Okay.
Um, yeah, we still talk occasionally and stuff. So I was going to her house, and she was going to take me out to eat for my birthday. Now, I didn't even have a car at the time. My mom had to drop me off. Well, I decided on my birthday I wanted to go get some drugs. Um, so I did. So my mom dropped me off, drove around the corner, and I walked right past my girlfriend's house over to where a guy was who I could meet. Ended up taking all night to get the drugs. And this is another thing when you do really hard drugs, it's never like it's not consistent, okay? It's if you have a guy who always answers the phone and meets you right away, that's like I've had that a couple times in my life. But keep in mind, I did drugs for about a decade. That only happened to me a couple times, okay? It's always a
What
fucking
do people
hassle.
just end up? What happens? Like people quit, people get arrested. Like why? What exactly happens? Why you can't get a consistent person the whole time?
Yeah, people are very protective of their sources, right? So like to actually meet like a higher level guy is almost impossible because you know, people are protective. They have what you call licks, okay? Here, let's get round 1 of lingo that I'm too old for, okay? You have a
Oh,
lick.
I feel so cool. This is like the first time I'm learning about this stuff. Okay,
Check
I want
W,
I want to learn.
poggers.
I want I want to learn the lingo. I never
Okay,
got to learn when I was in high school, so now I feel
so
really cool.
a lick is like a person that gets drugs through you. So like you might not exactly be like, let's say you want heroin, okay? I don't sell heroin, but I know people who do. So you know what I do? I go, hey, I can get you heroin. Give me $20. I go buy 210 sacks and do one for myself, or I just scrape a little bit off of your bag and give myself some, right? That's what people do, okay?
Okay.
And so like if your regular guy isn't answering his phone, now I got to go through someone else who's going to rip me off, and it's going to take 10 years. And this is what happens. And when you're a junkie, this is every day of your fucking existence. Okay. Every day is like this. The stress of it, I will never miss that. Oh my God. You're just running. You're constantly running, going to the next deal, making your next move, your next scheme. It's just a constant, it never, ever ends. It's horrible. It's terrible. So anyway, this day, I finally get a hold of my one buddy, and this was a guy who I did drugs with a lot, and let's just call him whatever we all called him. We all called him Tweako. Okay, you can imagine what drugs Tweako like to do. Okay, that really was what we called him. He still probably goes by that. Okay, I actually ran into him in rehab towards the end, but we can get to that later. So Tweako, um, he was kind of a friend. He had ripped me off before, but I probably ripped him off too. So that's what happens. This is I'm lucky I never got killed, honestly, and or ever found myself in some fucked up situation. But well, I found myself in lots of fucked up situations, but none that were, well, plenty that were life threatening. But anyway, so Tweako, I picked Tweako up. Okay, we get a car for he's driving around with someone. I can't remember what happened. Oh no, okay, never mind. I did have my truck. Okay, the other where I didn't have my truck was later. I did have my truck because I picked him up. Okay. This was before my truck got impounded. The birthday was later. So actually, kids, now that you'll learn this story, I went and did drugs later, more after this. I didn't get clean after this story, and this is a story of me overdosing. Okay.
Okay, so you OD'd and then afterwards you went on about your day and were
Kept
like,
doing it. Kept doing it.
okay.
Yep. 100%. Anyway, so this story though, I pick Tweako up. We go get drugs. I bring him to his girlfriend's house. She was yelling at us and wanted me to get out of the driveway. So I did my shot as quickly as possible. We're sitting there in her driveway. I do my shot. I put I remember trying to put the truck in reverse, and I must never have gotten it into gear because literally the next instant, I woke up in the back of an ambulance with my shirt off. It was the middle of December, dude. It was like negative outside, and I have no shirt on. I'm waking up in the back of this ambulance. That's why, okay, you hear stories about drug addicts fighting paramedics when they get Narcaned, or that they're mad at the paramedics you hear these weird stories from anti-drug people all the time. Okay, this is why. Imagine you're just sitting where you are, okay, chat, and you just wake up somewhere in like a moving vehicle, okay? It's so discombobulating and disorienting. It's crazy. You, it's a bizarre feeling, okay?
Wait,
I imagine
what were you doing? Like what was the choice of the day that you just like woke up and was this also heroin?
this is heroin. Yeah, this is heroin.
Okay.
Um, Anyway, they had to Narcan me 4 times. And okay, so remember, I was supposed to go meet my girlfriend, right? So that's who I had to call when I got to the hospital to come pick me up. And not that this is true though. I was gonna say not that this is good, but I do think I deserve this a little bit. But she basically beat the shit out of me when she fucking picked me up. Was literally, I sat down in her car and she's just fucking wailing on me. Not the only time I've been beaten up by a woman. Actually, it's happened 3 times. Um, so yeah, and but the funny part of the story is, so I overdose. It's so bad around here, they don't charge you for it or anything. Literally, they brought me to the hospital.
That's crazy. Like I'm just because it's America, right? So like I'm used to them like literally being like that's $1,000, fuckhead. But for this, it just happens so often that they're like, "Uh,
So the guy Narcan me in the ambulance while it was moving.
Uh,
Did I
okay.
lose you?
Yeah, I think we all just lagged out for like a second, but it's okay.
Oh yeah, my face is
No,
great on the
no, no.
stream.
No, yeah, no, no, no. I lagged out too, so we're like perfect. Equally lagged.
All right, are we good though? Are we back?
Mhm.
Okay, so they take me to the hospital. Well, anyway, the paramedic told me he had to pull me out of the truck, and he said I was purple when he was pulling me out of the truck. I was dead. He Narcan me 4 times, and I woke up. So anyway, they bring me to the hospital. Um, all they do is they took my blood pressure, and they were like, "Okay, you're free to go." And I was like, "That's it?" They're like, "Yep, go ahead." Okay. So I called my girlfriend. She's on her way to pick me up. I'm outside smoking, waiting for her, and I literally almost overdosed again. I'm standing there
You, uh,
outside smoking, and
okay.
it was like the Narcan was wearing off, and I had to go back in and sit down, and I almost passed out. Crazy. That's how much fentanyl I must have done. It was crazy. Um,
Yeah, I'm
anyway,
curious. How did they know to keep on canning you? Because I would have thought, like, at some point it would be like, this is useless.
I don't know when they stop, honestly, because I know stories of guys I was in rehab with who got Narcan 10 times. So I don't know when they stop. I think if you're still, I don't even know. Honestly, I have no idea. You'd have to ask a paramedic. Um,
Well,
there are
next stream.
there there are some like localities and states even that are trying to do away with Narcan. And I worked for a woman who didn't know I was a drug addict that said we should just let those fucking junkies die. We shouldn't Narcan anyone. And I was
And you
like,
were
well,
just like,
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Narcan. So, and she like went red. People just talk and don't even think. It's so funny. Um. Anyway, the next day the cops show up. Right? They don't charge you, but they knew I had because whenever an ambulance gets called, the cops get called. So they show up at my house and they're like, so where'd you get the drugs? I was like, I don't know. I'm playing dumb. I'm like, I have no idea, man. Um, He's like, did you get it from, I don't want to say his first name, Tweeko? Let's just say Tweeko for the story. Did you get him from Tweeko? Who's Tweeko? Like, I don't know who that is. And he goes, well, his phone was in your truck, right? He's got his phone. I'm like, I'm thinking, how do they know that's his phone? He goes, his girlfriend's right on the front, like when you open the phone, like the lock screen, whose driveway we were in, right? Anyway, I played dumb. I just completely played dumb. I said I picked him up on the street. I played dumb. I have had to do that so many times because I've been busted so many times, and I never snitched on anyone ever.
that's like rule one.
Well, I never did. Um, I had many opportunities to, and cops try to get you to snitch too. Let me tell you. Um, anyway, what I find out is my buddy Tweeko actually is the person who saved my life. So I overdose next to him, and what most junkies in this situation do is fucking run, right? That's what most junkies do, because they don't want to be there when the cops show up. Not to mention I'm in his girlfriend's driveway, right, which is going to bring heat to his girlfriend, and his girlfriend was mean. Okay, not a nice person. But Twigo saved my life. Okay, he thought he had enough humanity, and this is why, like, don't give up on drug addicts. Okay, people, that's my sort of lecture for the day. Is Twigo sort of risked himself getting in trouble to save my life. He called the ambulance, and he was in such a hurry to get the fuck out of there that he dropped his phone and left it in my truck. Um, and I don't know what happened after that. But that's always I think that of that as an interesting story. It was a guy who was probably ripping me off anyway, because remember I was his lick. Okay, um, but the guy saved my life. Yeah,
Do you
it,
end up
literally,
keep?
I would have died for sure. I almost did die, even though he did, because he called the ambulance right away. Okay, so they were there within. It was actually right down the street over here, and there is a little fire station here. So the paramedics were like 5 minutes away, probably. Um,
So,
yeah,
do you end up keeping in touch with a lot of people afterwards, or do you just kind of like completely?
that's what
Okay.
you have. That's what you have to do, in my humble opinion. Okay, what you have to do is sever ties. Now, the problem is a lot of people can't because a lot of people use drugs with their family members, their wives, God forbid their kids or whatever. That is a common thing.
Oh,
Um,
really? Oh.
yes, very, very common. Yeah, so it's usually not feasible for a lot of people. Usually their family members are involved with them. But my recommendation to anyone who's trying to get clean is to completely sever ties with the people that you use with. You can make new friends. Most people, this is a roadblock many men and women get into, is they use with their significant others. And if your significant other won't get clean, you're never getting clean. Let me tell you. That people do it. My cousin actually did that. One of the sweetest men on the planet, but it's very rare. Yeah, I severed ties with everyone that I used with. Now there was one person I used heavily with that I was actually in rehab with the time I got clean, and I've kept in contact with him. But to be fair, we did 90 days of rehab together, so we spent a lot of time, going to meetings together and shit. But you definitely can't be speaking to people who are still getting high. You just
Yeah, so like let's say in the case with like the person that you went to rehab, are they also now clean?
Mhm.
Okay, so then that works. But I guess I guess even if let's say theoretically if Pico were to also be clean, would you be able to, or is it just kind of like nah? Like when you look back, it's like I didn't even have that much in common. It just happened to be we all just wanted to do drugs.
So remember, I said that I fit in well everywhere I go. I kind of can chameleon it up. So yeah, I would say most of the people I used with, I had the only thing that we had in common was drugs, right? So yeah, I guess that made that easier. A couple of them were genuine friends, but it still wasn't like. To be fair, I have barely, I don't know if I have any friends that are actually into the same like things that I'm into or whatever. I kind of have weird interests and tastes. So,
Okay.
especially with COVID and the fact that I don't drink anymore, okay? I never had a problem with alcohol, but it's just the safe bet. I just don't do any drugs, okay? I smoke cigarettes and I drink coffee and energy drinks. Good
Oh,
enough. I probably could drink or smoke weed too, but I just won't risk it. It's just why I have no reason to. But the fact that I don't drink makes making friends somewhat difficult. Because especially in a town like this, there's nothing to do anyway. What people do for fun is they go to fucking bars, right? That's what people do. Um, and I don't do that. I've been to bars before. Let me tell you, when you're a sober person at a bar, is like some people like it.
I I don't know. I just sit there. I'm like, man, do you know how much tonic water I'm gonna order? Ooh, do you know how
Also
many Shirley Temple's about to have? Boy.
also there is nothing more insufferable. Okay, maybe Rob Noor is more insufferable than this. Maybe. But I don't know. I think I could actually talk to Rob Noor for more than 5 minutes, and a drunk person, like a really drunk person, I could not. When you get sober, there is nothing more annoying and insufferable than a inebriated person. It is so. Oh, people just don't realize how stupid they are when they're drunk. It's like, oh, it sucks. It's so terrible. Every time I see my mom, she is always drinking wine and I just want to die. My dad too, they both drink a lot. Yeah, I hate drunk people. Honestly, I'll designate a drive for any of you in chat, okay? I love you all, but we ain't hanging out if you're drunk, okay? It's just not gonna happen. I'll take care of you, maybe I'll cook you something or whatever, but we're not gonna fucking I can't talk to you. Okay. I want to fucking kill you.
So I'll
No.
drive you to wherever you need to go, but I will put tape over your mouth on the way there.
Well, yeah, and I'm probably not coming inside, okay? I'll drop you off and. So, hey, ladies, I won't take advantage of any of you. I can tell you that right now. That's something that's never happening.
Squad
Because I won't be
W.
able. Squad W, Keck W. I won't be able to fucking stand any of you. So. How was the I was gonna say I'm single now, ladies. Recently single. How was the fucking dating show?
Oh, you know I got fucking kicked off, but it's okay because I of course chose host. It was host or love. I chose host because uh little beknownst to anybody that had me on there, I already have a significant other. But it's okay because I only want the host so that I could spread my donation link for the Black Legal Action Fund, and Dylan still let me, so it's a win-win.
I
But
thought you were gonna say so you could spread your seed.
definitely. Look, these eggs are not going to be fertilizable forever, you know? Sometimes walk up to me and ask me how you like your eggs, fried or fertilized, and I say they're really not able to do either one. So, what is this conversation? But I am wondering, out of all the, you, you had all the different experiences where, you're like, this isn't, I'm not going to stop now. I'm not going to stop this time. So what was so special about the fourth time that made you be like, yeah, I'm kind of over getting canned. Uh, I
So
kind of want to
it,
wrap this up.
it wasn't even that. So what happened is, as a drug addict, I was getting busted with needles constantly. So every time I'd get pulled over, every cop in town knew my truck. Okay, they would pull me over every time they saw me. It's a miracle I never got busted with drugs on me. I actually never got a felony somehow. All of my shit was missed. All the charges I ended up getting convicted of were misdemeanors. But I got busted with a lot of needles. Okay, a shit ton of them, like a fucking long ass list that I pled down and ended up getting worked down to 2. We can get into the legal troubles later. So anyway, um, I keep getting busted with these needles. Keep getting busted. I get put on probation. Of course, I don't fucking show up for probation. So I get dinged for that because I missed probation. I had all these needles. Then the day of reckoning, okay, I had been doing a bunch of meth, okay, so this whole time I was doing meth too because most people in the heroin world, those dealers also sell crystal meth. They just kind of go together. They couldn't be more different drugs, but they just go together, and meth is dirt cheap. Dirt fucking cheap.
That
And
was the
that's
best Trump impersonation I've ever seen.
is amazing, incredible. Crystal meth is incredibly cheap. Um, so that's honestly, I think, the problem with meth and why a lot of people get hooked on it because it's so fucking cheap. And let me tell you, IV and crystal meth is fucking never do that, okay, chat? Never ever fucking do that. But it is like
How's it supposed to be done?
most people smoke it or snort it.
Okay.
Um,
I clearly don't know fucking anything. But yeah.
most people snort meth. I would say but the stereotype is smoke because meth mouth, right? Which honestly, that doesn't. It's not because of smoking. People get meth mouth because they're fucking dehydrated. Well, actually, let's get into crystal meth. Okay, so what happens with crystal meth is like I would do even when I was doing a decent amount, I would get $20 worth and I'd bang the whole $20 worth, and I'd be up for 3 days. I'm not shitting you. 3 fucking days of being higher than a fucking kite. And the initial shot when you IV it, it's like getting sent. It's like your brain getting blasted to the fucking moon, dude. I've had a I've done shots where I had to sit down for like a half an hour and I couldn't speak. My brain was just fucking frying inside my head. Honestly, it makes me sick to my stomach thinking about how fucked up it was. It's a crazy feeling though. It's like the movies when you see people get injected with adrenaline. You ever seen that in movies where like Pulp Fiction? Where
Yeah,
they
that's right. Yeah, I was right about to ask about that.
it's kind of like that. Only like your brain just gets zapped into oblivion. Yeah. So yeah, meth's like really cheap, and the when I got busted. So this is why I brought this up. So I was doing a lot of meth, and sometimes I'd be up for like over 7 days at a time. Okay, because I do a couple big ass blasts of meth, which would keep me up for 3 days. And then at the end of the 3 days, you start coming down and you feel like you want to die. Coming down from meth is also, it's not physically bad, but mentally it's torture. Okay, heroin is worse physically. Meth is fucked up mentally when you're and not to mention usually when you're up for 3 or 4 days, your mind's not exactly working correctly. That's why that's that other stereotype you see of like meth people being crazy. Trust me, it's because they've been up for like probably a week. Okay, you stay up for a week and tell me how coherent you are. Okay, you won't be.
Man, I stay up
Promise.
for 18 hours and I'm like humana, humana, humana.
So when I got busted, what had happened was I had been up for a week, really long binge. I hadn't eaten anything. I was like 150 pounds, I think, and I walk around at like 180. You know, one. Right now I'm at 175, but usually I'm walking around at around 180. I'm down to 150. I'm fucking skin and bones.
How tall are you?
Hadn't. I'm only 5'8", so
Okay.
I'm stocky. I'm chunky. Okay, I'm a chunky boy. Not like fat, but I'm thick. All right, I'm a thick boy. Always been a thick boy. Um, to be fair, I always worked out and shit too. Actually, I worked out to get back into working out because I am soft. Okay, COVID has not been kind to my physical well-being. Anyway, so I had been up for a week, and I get this bright. I had been doing this scheme, okay, and my scheme was I would go around to Dollar Generals. We have 3 or 4 right here in town, real close, because if the Midwest is like Dollar General haven, okay, they pop up fucking everywhere. That and like drugstores, like Rite Aid and shit. There's like one every other block. So my big scheme that I learned from 2 people who I hung out with all the time, one of whom is not with us anymore. She overdosed. I know so many people who overdose. That's the other thing that sucks about heroin too. All your friends die. So many people, like an innumerable amount. I know so many people who have died, and I almost died myself. But anyway, so here's my scam. Don't try this at home, kids, because you'll get caught like I did. Okay. So what I would do is I'd go to $1 General and I'd walk around the parking lot, pick up receipts, right? And I would just find ones where the people paid with cash. Okay? So then I'd go to a different Dollar General. I would steal the things on the receipt, and then I would go to the other Dollar General and return it. The problem is you have to use your ID, right? So you can imagine this only works for so long. Now, I did this at like every store in town. Walmart, I had a bunch of theft charges, and Walmart has very, very sophisticated anti-theft technology. Okay, don't steal from Walmart. You can get away with petty shit, but they have very, very sophisticated like loss prevention stuff.
For cash?
Yeah.
I Yeah, my days of stealing petty stuff like stopped like when I was like 14. So
Don't do
that's
it,
why
kids. Okay.
yeah, like the most I just used to, you know, that like stupid like rich kid shit where it's like I'm gonna steal a chocolate bar even though I have the money to pay for it. Yeah.
Yes. Ironically, I never did it. I was Mr. like I never thought I would ever steal, okay? But I did a lot. Okay. So anyway, I decide after being up for 7 days, I needed money so I could get some heroin so I could go to fucking sleep. Actually, I remember that was the plan
Are you
because
not
I would
able?
do that a lot.
Because you said there's like a bit of a whole like mental thing that happens. Does it make it like really hard to fall asleep? Like what
Yeah,
exactly? Okay.
impossible.
Okay.
Unless I knew a lot of guys who did it a lot that could fall asleep. I couldn't. I needed heroin to knock me out. And actually, after this story, I'll tell you. Every time I did meth is where all of my, if you ever want to get into my weird sex stories, okay, they are all have to do with crystal methamphetamine, okay? That drug is why I got into some wild shit when I was doing that drug, okay? Some shit I'm not
That
very proud of.
what? Yeah, when you get there, we'll start doing the let's see who can beat each other in the story section part.
I, I got some shameful sex stories, and so I announced my bachelorhood, my singleness to all the ladies in chat, and I'll scare them all away here in a little bit when they find out about all the fucked up shit that I've done.
It's okay.
I,
Remember,
I
I have my marriage story, so we're even. We're both gonna share those.
I've done some heinous sexual acts. Okay, very degenerate. Nothing illegal, to be fair. I don't think. Anyway, so I had been up for 7 days and I needed money because I wanted to get some heroin. Now, but keep in mind, I had been up for 7 days. I was like out of my mind. So I got this big ass receipt. It had like a million items, and in my high ass mind, I'm going payday, baby. I'm gonna get a big ass bag of dope with this. I'm walking around the store holding the receipt with a cart, looking at the receipt. Keep in mind, I had already been doing this scheme for a couple months, so I think they knew who I was. And I start seeing someone following me. And I kind of knew, I was starting to get the idea they were following me around. They knew what was up. I tried to make a break for it, and this brave ass kid, he was twice my size. He's a big ass, like 6'3", 250 kid, stood right in my way, right? And I got the cart about halfway out of the store and decided to give it up. So I let go of the cart and I walked away. I went in my truck and got away. In my mind, I thought I was good, right? Because I didn't steal anything, right? I didn't. However, I broke the plane of the store. And technically, that is a theft, even if
But
you return the shit.
but they literally have. They're literally able to just go. Okay.
If a store wants to press charges on you, they'll do it. It's the act of stealing is a crime, right? It doesn't matter even like what the value is. And what's funny, the value was like $50 maybe. But still, the problem was I had been on probation. I had a million needle charges. So anyway, they called the cops on me, and eventually later that day, the cops tracked me down and brought me to jail. Now, I had still been up for days. Out of my fucking mind, right? The cops picked me up. And what's funny is I was completely forthright with all of the shit. I told them exactly how I did my scheme. I kind of knew the guy because I was friendly with all the cops at this point because they all knew me, okay? They pulled me over every time they saw me. And I'd be like, hey, I knew all of them by first name. I was nice to the cops, okay?
This
I
is the
know
whitest
ACAB.
shit I've ever heard in my
I
entire
know.
life.
I know ACAB fucked up. Well, and they did fucked up shit to me too. I had guns pointed at my face for no reason. I got slammed on the ground, kicked in the fucking head. I've had cops do fucked up shit to me, but I always thought the best thing to do when you're in an interaction with the police, and I advocate for everyone to do this, okay? Just fucking do what they ask you to do, okay? Shut the fuck up and let them do what they're gonna do. Um, if you can, record it and worry about it later. Don't resist them, okay? Unless you want to fucking die. I had a loaded gun pointed on the back of my head before, okay? When you have that happen to you, it changes your perspective, okay, right? Your life is the slip of a fucking, finger away. With some fucking gung-ho, cop with his fucking pants tucked into his fucking combat boots and shit. Heck, no, I'm not giving this guy an excuse to blow me away. So anyway, I'm bullshitting with this cop, telling him how I did all my shit, I'm like, yeah, I got receipt. Because he was asking me. He was like, so what were you doing? He was like, you could see you on the camera looking at the receipt. I was like, yeah, dude, I would find shit on the receipt, steal it, and return it, blah, blah, blah. So he takes me to jail. At the time, too, I was so high, I thought it was petty theft. I thought that they were going to, like, PR bond me or, like, just get me out of there in a day. I thought maybe I'd be in over the weekend. Petty theft. Well, no, they decided, of course, to charge me with everything. All of my missed probations, all of my needle charges. They charged me with everything at once and ran it consecutively, meaning all the charges stacked, all the sentences stacked on top of each other. Okay. What I was looking at was over a year in the county jail. Keep in mind, these are all misdemeanors. Okay, not felonies, so I was not eligible to go to prison. Prison's the nice place to go, okay? I know a lot of people fuck this up. Normies don't understand. Jail is a fucking nightmare, depending on where you're
Some
at.
people want to know. Some people want to know what are needle charges.
A needle, because I shot up, okay? So I get busted with it's illegal to have a needle if you don't have diabetes, okay? It's like a paraphernalia charge. In Ohio, at least, it's a 4th degree misdemeanor. It's called the drug abuse instrument charge.
Okay.
Yeah, and spoons too fall under this category. Dirty spoons.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. But
Anything that it's like in Ohio, it's just a drug abuse instrument is a nice little catch-all tent for things that might not be illegal items, but are used for illicit drug use. You can charge people for stuff like that.
Couldn't that become a problem? Because can I just have a fucking spoon in my backpack just for shits and giggles and
If a cop wanted to fuck around with you, yep, goddamn right, yep. It's terrible.
Yay! That sounds super duper.
We have a problem in Ohio, okay, too, though, to be specific. Ohio has been ravaged by the opioid epidemic, okay? Like, it's one of the worst places in the country. So And we have recently had a trend of Republican leadership, which has been fantastic. I want to fucking kill myself, dude. It's so horrible here. Nina Turner, God, oh, please, Nina. I've always loved Nina, okay? I've known about Nina Turner forever. I'm so glad she's getting national spotlight, dude. Oh, God, I love that woman so much. I'm in love with Nina. Anyway, we have lots of Republican leadership here, okay? It's a fucking nightmare, hellhole in this state. We're like worse than Texas now. We've always been a swing state, but like we went blue. Went to Obama for 2. I know went to Clinton twice. So it's back and forth. Went to Bush twice, but it's always been back and forth. But Trump, I don't know. Everyone loves Trump here. Like even right around all my neighbors, some of them still have Trump signs up. They're the crazy, think the election was stolen. They're all over the
Oh,
place here.
very
So
fun.
I think that explains though why some of the laws are starting to get a little more harsh when it comes to stuff like that here. Now, to be fair, we do have the Good Samaritan laws were passed here recently, which is very good news. Which means you can call if someone's overdosing, you can call and you don't have to worry about getting arrested. If you call the cops because
How
someone's overdosing.
how long ago has that passed?
It's been a couple years now, I think.
Man, that would have been helpful for Tweeko. He wouldn't have had to run away.
Right, exactly.
I
Um,
pay attention.
Well, and I've been a big advocate for I'd like to get involved locally for more needle exchanges. There is a needle exchange in Cleveland. Now, a needle exchange for those in the chat who don't know what that is. A needle exchange is a place where you can take your dirty needle and they will dispose of it and give you a fresh one and clean water and cotton, all the shit you need to shoot up, okay? And to not because here's a problem with drug addicts, okay? My mom's a nurse. She gets these in all the time. If you miss a shot, now when you miss a shot, I don't want to get too into detailed TOS shit here. I don't want to like tell you guys how to shoot up, but you have to hit your vein, okay, to shoot up. Okay? If you miss your vein, you can all the nasty shit that's in that drug goes into your muscle or goes into other shit and it can get infected. And people lose their arms all the time. Or their legs because they shoot up in their feet. That's the other problem when you're an addict. I don't know if you can see mine. No, not really. Your veins start to collapse, so you have to start hitting all over the place. Yeah. Anyway, people miss shots and it gets infected, and that's a common thing. So, and a lot of times that's because the water's dirty, the shit in the drugs is really bad. So what these needle exchange places do is you can trade in your dirty needle for a clean one and clean water and stuff like that. And what's good about this is it gets dirty needles off the street. If you walk around here in Ashtabula in some hot spots, I could tell you where to go, and you'll see needles on the ground.
and
Dirty
some
ass needles.
and will some people that really want drugs that bad just pick up the dirty ones and say, "I guess this is me now."
I've done it. Okay, yes, I've done this
Oh,
exact thing. Okay,
okay.
I shared needles with fucking everyone. Okay, by the way, I had hepatitis C. We get into that actually.
I'm
Um,
surprised. Honestly, like that must be like a kind of dream too. Like the worst that ended up getting picked up was hepatitis C because
mm,
it could be worse if you're just. Yeah, that looks good.
Not to mention I stuck my dick in a lot of shit too that somehow didn't somehow my dick did not fall off during all this. I don't know how that happened, but I'm obviously a very lucky person. Okay, right? I overdosed 4 times, didn't die. I only ended up with hepatitis. Um, and they have a cure for hepatitis, which I just got rid of last summer. I got on this medication only because I got on Medicaid because I'm a broke ass student. Um, yeah, because this medication's really expensive. I can't remember. I probably still have like the box. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like really harsh though. The side effects are basically all last summer. I felt tired. But it got rid of my hepatitis, so I'm clean bill of health.
And
That's
yo,
all.
now you're ready to spread seed.
Well, and that's the other good thing too is the one good thing about having hepatitis is I got tested when I was on that medication every month. Um, and so I've gotten tested for STDs so many times in the last year, and I'm clean, which is good to know. Like,
What- What's
it's
up,
just good to
ladies?
know I can go to my Cleveland Clinic my
Turtle
chart thing and
single.
and show my test results. See, look, negative for everything. Um,
I
yeah,
do you post it on Tinder now? Is that like one of your photos? Like your last
I,
photo on Tinder is just the STD
that's such a good idea. If I ever do, I can't do the. It's amazing that I've even ever gotten a girlfriend in the last like 4 years, considering I don't go to bars because I refuse to do the. I don't like the. I'm a boomer, okay? It's crazy enough that I even have a Twitch account and like Twitter. I don't like. I don't know. I don't feel right. I can't do selfies and shit, dude. Like I can't do Tinder. Maybe I could. Maybe I will do it now that I'm single. I don't know.
I'm telling you, when me and Popota come to Chicago, I'm just gonna like it's actually just an intervention. I'm making you a Tinder a Tinder bio. I don't care if you like it or not. Like honestly, looking at people's bad Tinder like accounts just like makes it hurts. Like I am willing to do this service for free for the low price of your dignity. You could have you could have a fucking tricked out Tinder account. I'm ready.
All right, yeah, I need to get set up. Well, I need to get set up so that my exes. I'm so glad none of them have Twitch, okay? Because the four most recent ones, I just they were like cycling in and out right now, like and I'm getting much better. I will say I'm getting much better at passing. Like I'm 31, okay? I've actually very recently passed on sex a couple times. The 25-year-old me would be fucking ashamed or think that I was crazy or I'm some other person. Because I had never passed unless I was in a relationship and like someone like, but like being single and saying no thank you. I
Chat
know.
says just date people from Twitch.
But yeah, I should just do online only. Well, I was gonna say, you know what? Because you just had the dating thing. Did Eris lose?
No one's trying to go on a date with a cartoon.
Uh,
Go
well,
back to
I was gonna
Toontown.
say, I
I'm
think that's
kidding.
the next best thing. I can have a cartoon girlfriend. I think that would be like perfect for my situation. So, Eris, if you're watching, if you ever watch this, Eris, I'm sure you won't. But yeah, I can deal with cartoon stuff. I don't know how we do like
Somebody
dates
clip
in
it and
cartoon
tag
way.
Eris in it on Twitter. She'll if you tag her and the clip looks good enough, she'll see it. Some
Chat, get
people
on
said
it.
I'm just here because I just watched that show. See, you're
Yeah,
you're
that's what I
about to
mean.
you're about to date the mayor of Toontown.
Yeah, don't be sad that you got rejected, Eris. Okay, there's a nice ex junkie who lives in a different country than you who would be very nice to do like you know some sort of Discord date.
Oh, you could also date Doobie.
I probably would date Doobie, honestly. Me and
Man,
Doobie, me and Doobie would make a quite the couple, I would think.
I'm just
I
thinking of how good the politics Discord server how crazy that thing would suddenly get. I
oh I'd
I'm
blow all those conservatives' minds over
I'm
there in that
yeah
politics server.
I'm pre removing myself from that. I want nothing to do with this. So now we're gonna get into the crazy story territory because I need
Okay.
a platform to talk about my marriage. So I need you to preface with a better story so that my marriage seems very, very
Okay, I got one.
placid
So,
in the
chat,
comparison.
I just want chat to prepare themselves because I've heard this story and it's fucking incredible. Okay, so I'll try to preface with an even more shameful story. Okay,
Okay.
hopefully this person doesn't watch Twitch either, and if they do somehow, this person, I won't name you by your first name. You're very nice. Okay, I don't have any hard feelings towards you, but so here's my story. Do you want to hear my story about how I got catfished?
Oh my god, yes! I've been waiting for this.
Okay,
Yes. Tell me.
so I'm doing drugs. It was during my drug days, and the one girl I was talking about, who I was in love with, who I've told you about, we had just broken up. We were off and on all the time because I'd get caught getting high, and she'd leave me, and then we'd get back together. So it was one of those times we were not together. I decide to get a Facebook for the first time for the express
Okay,
purpose
boomer.
of finding a. I just wanted to find a chick to bang, basically. Honestly, if my mind at that time, okay, that's what I was doing. I'll just be honest. Um, I get Facebook and all these chicks I went to high school with, or I'm talking to all of them, and one of these girls I went to high school with, who I had hooked up with in high school one time, we hooked up, hits me up, and we start talking, and she lived about an hour away, and we were pretty quickly getting into like, you know,
You trying
X-rated
to see my dick?
territory. Let's just say, yeah, pics were exchanged. Okay, the usual dumb shit. Okay, so I decide I'm gonna go meet her, and I do a big old shot of meth because, like I said earlier, meth and sex very much intertwined.
Are you able to
Any
have proper conversations and stuff when on meth? Like, were you not like
would
a complete drag to be around? Just like, who the fuck invited this person to my house?
you do? I'm sure you're. I'm sure I was insufferable on meth. I already talk a lot, and it's worse. So yeah, probably. But at the time, I wanted to get high, and like I said, meth and sex have this interaction. Anyway, never again. Anyway, I do a big old blast of meth and go down, drive an hour away to go meet this chick at night. So the whole time we had been talking, I somehow didn't notice that all of her Facebook pictures were. I did notice one of them was from high school because it was with a couple girls we went to high school with, and I know it was from that time, which was 2008 was when I graduated. Um, but I thought she just had an old picture up, right? And I didn't think twice about this. Anyway, I show up. And like I said, I hope she never watches this because she's a very, very sweet person and she's very nice. Okay. Anyway, she answered the door and it barely looked like the same person. Okay. Like I'm talking plus 200 pounds, maybe. Probably plus 200 pounds. Maybe more. I don't know. Just huge. Um, Needless to say, I was a little taken aback, but I had a dilemma in my head. Okay. Right. What do you do in that situation, right? We were talking pretty heavily, and like I said, pics were exchanged, I guess from my end, right? Um I, definitely made it clear that we wanted something to happen. Um I am really not that confrontational of a person, so I wasn't going to be like, "Ew, oh my god, what the fuck?" right? So what did I do? Well, I decided to just go ahead with it. Just get her done.
But it
So
was the
I
same person, yeah?
Yeah, same person, just
Okay.
plus about 200 pounds, right? From the
Okay.
pictures there.
For some reason, I always thought that was like not the same person, but like they
No,
just
same
use
person.
like okay, okay.
Same person. Anyway, the funny part of the story is that I decided to go through with it, and then here's where it also gets funny, okay? It's like 3, 4 in the morning. She's asleep. I'm still high on meth, so like I can't sleep. And I decide to leave and not tell her, okay? I decide to escape in the middle of the night. So I escape in the middle of the night. And in fact, she lived near Cleveland. I went to Cleveland for the day and hung out there trying to get more drugs because some of the drug dealers there will give out free drugs. Okay. We can get into that later too if you want. Yes. The dealers are in such competition on the east side that if you look like a junkie, they might throw you a tester. Yeah, it happens. I used to do it quite a lot, actually. And I have another funny sex story that involves that. I met a girl in Cleveland. Um, that's the piss bottle story. If you remember that one, we can get into that later.
I think I do.
Yeah. So anyway, I leave. I hightail it middle of the night. Don't tell her, right? What she decided to do when she woke up in the middle of the night and saw that I was gone was decided to look for me. And the only way that she could is she started calling everyone that we mutually knew, that she knew I was still friends with. Yes. And guess who one of those people were? That girl that I was dating, the ex, the recent ex who we were in just a little break. So she calls basically my girlfriend at the time.
Oh, it's like friends. We were on a break.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. So she calls me, right? My girlfriend, or ex, technically ex, fucking flipping out. You fuck, I can't believe you did this. What the fuck are you doing? Yeah, so yeah, that's my story basically. I get catfished, and instead of just being polite or making up an excuse like, "Oh, you know
Or
what? I got to
writing a
go."
note. Just writing a note.
Right,
Just
I
make
know.
sure.
Or I could have told her, "Hey, I got to go do something," right? Or like I could have done anything. I was so high. I was like, "Ah, fuck it, I'll just leave." Um yeah. So there's my one of my embarrassing stories.
And did you ever like speak to her again to say, "LOL, I just."
Never, never, dude, never. I was honestly kind of mad at her at the time. Like
That's
I said,
fair.
now I kind of understand. Here's the thing: I do understand, and I feel bad for people who catfish people. Okay, now because first of all, I think it's a very common thing nowadays for girls, especially, to dress up their Instagram pictures and Photoshop shit and to look. I think women are pressured to look a certain way online, and I kind of feel bad. I kind of feel bad for women, honestly. Like I said, at the time, okay, I was pretty mad at her, but looking back on it, I kind of understand. Now, catfishing someone is ultimate scumbaggery, okay, behavior. Don't
Well,
ever, never
it's
ever do
only
that.
cat. It's only like true catfishing if you're like choosing an entirely different person's photos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm using that term a little fast and loose here. I'm more talking about like misrepresenting yourself.
Okay.
I don't think you should do that either with people. But I understand why women do it. I do. So anyway, that's enough of my. Can we take a break with my stories? Because I would love for chat to hear this amazing
Okay. The time I got married. So
marriage story.
the
Yes, like
marriage
the movie.
story. Yes. Okay. So, I'm so happy. You're actually like the first person I've ever like really spoken to about it. Except for like the people that were like involved at the time, like or like my friend that was like staying with me then. So, I'm technically married. Uh, which is such a great preface. And I don't know how I got married. It was an accident. So so what happened was I went to the bakery. Um and there was a guy who was working at the bakery, and it was like last summer my friends and I just kept on going to this bakery, and I was like, wow, for some reason everybody looks hot with a mask. I'm sorry. Everybody's eyeballs are just so good. I can't help myself. So like I had just gotten in a breakup, and I like walked up to the guy, because like we just kept on going there. So I walked up and I was like, "Hey, I want to buy 2 tiramisus. Also, do you want my phone number? Because I'm neurodivergent and I have no idea how to talk to people. Um, I have no idea how to talk to people. So I was just like, "Hey, do you want my phone number?" He said, "Okay." So he took my phone number. Cool. And I go on about my day. You know, um, we end up texting each other. He comes over to my place because I live pretty close by. My friends are like, "Why do you have people coming over to your house?" I said, "Oh, I didn't realize you're supposed to wait to let people over at your house." My friends are like, "Wow, you're fucking stupid." Anyway, so we just keep on hanging out. And after, a while of him coming over to my place, he's like, actually, you know, uh, I'm Muslim, but I'm Shia, and we can like hang out and everything, but under the eyes of God, like if we want to be like more physically involved, we're gonna have to go ahead and do what was it, nakib, like we have to do a temporary marriage. um and I said, okay. Sounds good. Yeah, let's do that. So I was like, okay, how long he's like, okay, I have to give you a gift. um you have to say these words in Arabic, and we have to go ahead and negotiate the contract of how long we're going to be married for. I said, sounds good. So I say words in Arabic. He gives me a gift of a bracelet. My friends were like, damn, you got fucking cucked, bruh. A bracelet? You got married for a fucking bracelet, dumbass. And he said you have to. And I was like, how long do we want to be married? He's like, a year, and I was like, okay. A year sounds good too. He's like, yeah, like last time I got married, I did this with somebody, a girl. I said like a month, and she got mad. So yeah, let's just say a year. I was like, yep, a year. So I did the whole thing. Uh, we never had sex. We never ended up sleeping together because he also was like, oh, I don't like sleeping over at people's houses. I was like, cool. I don't like people touching me that don't sleep over at people's houses. So, okay. So I didn't even get married for dick. I just got married to get married. Afterwards, I go and like call up my friend who's like Syrian Christian, and she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I got married. And she's like, okay, what? And I was like, I just want to respect his culture, you know? And she's like, no, you're fucking dumb as shit. That's not respecting culture, bitch. You got married. I was like, yeah, but like, it's not like it means anything to me, right? Like, I don't even know what words I said. So I recite the words to her. She's like, actually, I don't think it counts. You don't even, you speak Arabic so badly. I don't even think that marriage counts. I think you're okay. But essentially, I still have my wedding gift in my room, and technically my contract isn't done. So until I think July or August, I'm still married. So
I love how the story. You had no idea what the words you were saying were in the
yeah,
ceremony. Did you ask?
I was just like, okay, Aloha Akbar. Yep, sounds good to me. Honestly, he actually wikihowed it. Like he didn't even know the word.
That's such a Zoomer shit, dude. Oh my god, let's Google it.
Yeah,
How to get married for a
yeah,
what you said he was Shia, right?
yeah. So yeah, I can actually chat. We're all getting married tonight. If you don't want to get married, you better leave because I'm gonna read the words. Wait, hold on. Let me see. Temporary marriage because I. It's no, it's real. If you wiki how temporary marriage, you'll find it. Hold on. Yeah, I found it. It's called mutta. Sorry. It's right here. I'm going to show it for chat cuz this is real. I wish it was just like, just a fun cute story, just really quirky and cute, but no. Your girl's married. Um and my friend told me I should have gone and like thrown the thing at him and say, "Lel, like we're not doing this." But I was like, "Oh, I don't want to be like mean." So like I actually just decided to stay married. And I guess I'm still married to this day. Hold on.
I think we have that in common a little bit. We are both of us are like so I'm so non-confrontational that I will just like avoid like yeah, so like I'm not even gonna take care of this marriage thing because I would rather just not deal
Yeah, yeah, I
not
was
deal with
like,
having to
well,
talk
like,
to.
I don't know, he seems like a nice guy otherwise here, right? You know what's really fun about this is that, like, he can have several muttas with other people, but I can only be in one mutta. So, hell yeah. Okay.
Is that's a Muslim thing,
Yeah,
correct? Right?
yeah,
Polygamy is allowed for men, I mean.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we agreed on our dowry. Our dowry is right here. We had to do the contract, you know?
You're the only person I know who's ever had a dowry.
Yeah, I got a dowry. I was so proud of myself. I was like, you know what? Like, I'm partially Indian. I know this isn't the right religion, but like, I got the dowry, so like, we did it. Like, my ancestors are smiling upon me. So yeah, here's the phrase, and then I said it, and obviously I said it so fucked up. I was like, uh, Zawajtuka nafsi fil mudatil malumati. And like I said it to my friend that's Syrian and she was just like, nah, I don't think this counts actually. Um but overall, yeah, she was not having it. She was not having it. My friend was like, okay, I need you to go up to this guy and tell him to go back, like stop being so fucking regressive. Also, because like he grew up in like Canada his whole life. So my friend was just like, how did you find the one person that still believes in mutta that like grew up in Canada has never even been to Iraq because the guy was Iraqi. I was like, I don't know. He went to the bakery and he was really cute and he had nice eyeballs. And then I was like, okay. So no. And yes, I actually haven't spoken to my husband um since August. He like ran away at some point to like go to Calgary because he was like, I need to find myself. And I was like, you're 28. So I just like stopped answering. I was like, if because he also like owned the bakery. I was like, you're just not going to take care of your company. He's like, I have to find myself, and I was like, okay,
I,
that's
I
good.
I I honestly think that sort of tops the awkward. Well, it's not even. I guess it's not a sex story, but that is. I don't know anyone who's. I don't know anyone who's done that. I have done a lot of weird and crazy shit, but I never got married.
I,
So I'll
you know
have to
what?
give you that one.
I don't know. The other day, I was on the phone with my mom. She was flexing on me, and she was like, I was married at your age." And I was like, "Well, bitch, I was married at 22, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You go get mutad. Hey, I'm almost divorced, so go fuck yourself. More experiences. Come get me." My chat's just like, I wonder how many more mutads he's had. I have no idea, but yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting question. That actually would be interesting to find out if he's had any more, because he had the one girl who was apparently mad, right, for it only being a 1 month
Mhm.
contract.
Yeah, and he was actually like properly married already and divorced, like like a real marriage, not just mutta. Mutta is apparently just like a sex marriage. Like I'm trying to get my rocks off, but also I don't want God to be mad at me. So can we just like say some words?
No, no hate to the religious, but religion is a funny one with that. Like some, like especially like fundamentalist or like orthodox religions have very weird rules when it comes to sex. Like,
Yeah, there's like poop hole loophole, or there's mutta, and I don't know what Jewish people do.
that's my favorite. I thought it was Orthodox Jews that do the you cut the hole in the sheets thing.
The Ben Shapiro. Okay, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I know that one. No sex in the champagne room.
Do you think Do you think there's actually, now that I'm saying this, I'm sure it is, but I was gonna say, do you think that there's like a kink involved with that? Seems how like kink has been such a like common topic lately that like even people that aren't religious do the. Or do you think that there's like old Jewish people that have been doing it for so long that they can only get off that way? They have to do the cut the hole in the sheets thing. I bet you there is. I'm sure that's some
I,
sort of weird kink.
I just told you it's called the Ben Shapiro. Like literally, that's what they call it.
Oh, this is an actual like kinky sex act that people do. They call it the bench peer.
Yeah, yeah. That's actually what the whole kink discourse is about: is whether or not we're going to allow people to come to Pride wearing just bed sheets. Yeah. I don't know what this whole dog mask leather daddy stuff is about, because honestly it's just the Ben Shapiro that's the real discourse here, is whether or
Oh yeah,
not we're
I'd say the dog suit's not fine, but like a dude walking around with just his dick through like a hole in a bed sheet, completely fine, right? Not weird at all.
yeah, or we can do there's also the other one that's called the altar boy, where you have to go and take a shower every time you're done having sex. So some of the discourse is how many porta potties should we allow to have showers during Pride, because like we always have to worry about those that are have to go and take their showers right after. This is what the real discourse is about. I don't know what this shit is that they're talking about. Leather daddies, uh pupper mask, furries. No, no, no. You have to worry about the Shapiros and the altar boy.
What is your opinion on the kink at Pride discourse? I don't know if I
M-
ever caught your opinion.
yeah, I never I said it, but it was like in a political stream. I think that there shouldn't be kink at Pride, but not because I care about the children, but because it's not an oppressed group, and I feel like Pride is supposed to be like a celebration of like the normal, like a celebration of how far we've come, but like no one's been stopping people from wanting to whip each other. So it's like, yeah, it's like to me it's the same thing as having like a straight Pride parade. Like no one's stopping you from like spanking anybody.
Yeah, I
Like
understand that. This is why I would never make it as a streamer too, or at least a political streamer, because I have these like political topics all the time that I end up like I end up never taking a stance because I don't know if I care enough about it. Like, I don't know. Usually, I think that caring about the kids meme is like usually in bad faith. I think most people actually don't give a shit about the kids. They usually only give a shit about their kids. And if you're not going to Pride, then I don't know why you give a shit about, Um,
Yeah. Like
however,
most of the streamers I see don't have crotch fruit, so I don't know what they're bitching about.
I mean, I do kind of understand maybe, I guess I've never been to a Pride parade. I mean, like I'm not gay, but yeah, I don't know. That's another reason why I don't really have a position on it because like I
But
feel
you've
like
never gone
maybe
as like an ally, or like you've never gone with a friend that was like, "Hey, do you want to come with me?"
I've had no, I've had plenty of gay friends, but no, they've never invited me actually. Now I'm kind of my feelings are a little bit
Yeah,
hurt actually.
honestly, I would be trigonometric as well. I think you might need to start engaging the discourse and say, "How come nobody's invited me to pride parades?"
I should start streaming and just do the contrarian thing actually and just piss around. I should do the who does that in Dylan's stream? Was it Charmhole that does that on Dylan's stream?
I, I've never. The only thing I know about Charmhole is that like my audience is always like, you don't talk to them, because my audience
He's
is like, you're not gonna have fun, and I'm like, yeah,
I'm
that's
pretty sure he's
fair.
a troll. I'm pretty sure he's basically a troll. I've seen a couple discussions with him and Dylan where he's like outright subversive about like stupid, like just as dumbass positions on topics to be outrageous. He's like an edgy bruh, you know?
Okay, okay, so kind of like never got over high school. Sounds good. Cool,
Yeah.
cool.
Speaking of people with bad takes, okay, let's bring Fnatic up again, okay, because I do want to clear this up because we talked about drugs a lot. And I love Mr. Fnatic, okay? He's actually a really excellent musician. Actually, I play music too, and maybe at the end of this, I'll point everyone to my shitty YouTube with my shitty songs. I just released a really shitty one today that I even wrote in the description. I'm sort of ashamed of, but I worked on it for 2 days, and I just can't be bothered to like do anything with it.
Why not? You
Anyway,
could play it in the background for
no, 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 no,
chat.
no.
Okay,
No, no,
no,
we
we
don't have to
can't.
do that.
Never. Oh, oh.
Well, you can, but it's not a big deal. We can direct people if you ever want to do it, like on stream or whatever. But I don't want to. I don't want you to feel like you have to or whatever.
Bitch,
Anyway,
you literally have me at 29 viewers right now. The least I can do is put a song on.
no,
Excuse.
we can direct. I'll direct people to the YouTube, and you guys can give me some feedback because, like, I'm incredibly honest in the descriptions too. You guys should read the descriptions when you click on the videos.
Okay.
Because I talk all like I'll be like, oh, this shit's on. Because I actually had really like some advice from some fellow musicians actually. Because
Yeah,
that's the
if
one thing. Now
feel
that
free to
COVID's
like send
wound
it
down,
over. Yeah,
now that
everyone wants the link. Where's the
well now well here
send nudes
let
of the
me
link? Send nudes of the link.
I have sent nudes of my textbook.
That
Here, I'll just put
see you actually know how to use my Discord.
there. There it's in you
Yay!
in Twitch chat. Okay, so Fnatic, he's a wonderful musician. He actually really is very talented. He's a little full of himself. I heard him say the other day that he was a child prodigy. Maybe he was. I don't think many prodigies actually call themselves prodigies. Maybe that's just me. Like I said, no hate. I love Fnatic, although he gives you shit constantly. He's like fucking straight up mean to you sometimes, honestly.
Frick, no, he's not
But
a fucking rapper.
yeah, he's not around. I know that's like the meme. That's so funny. Yeah, he's not. No, he plays piano. He's like I said, he's very very good musician.
I
Anyway
can
though,
still hear you. By the way, I'm just turning off the AC.
okay, his recent take. If anyone in chat caught it, he talked to Destiny, and to be fair, I think they were both wrong in certain ways. The discourse was about crack and how it is policed. And Fnatic was making the argument that is true, in my opinion, that it was largely racially motivated. I 100% agree with that. I think the harsh punishments for crack were very much racially motivated. We kind of have, from what I know, I haven't studied it too much, but from what I know, we do have some evidence of some CIA fuckery in the 90s, 80s, and 90s when it comes to crack cocaine. And yes, I agree, obviously, that pharmacologically, these drugs they're the same thing. It's the same drug, right? So one has baking soda and has been fucked with, basically. Actually, making crack's incredibly easy. We're not going to get into how to make crack, okay? We're not going to do that. I don't want to teach anyone how to make crack. I have made it before. Anyway, let me tell you guys, though, the difference between powder cocaine and crack. And I know some of you in chat, I'm sure, have had plenty of drug experience, but Fnatic would like make these claims, and he did kind of walk back on some of them. Where because he was kind of implying that crack and coke are exactly the same, right? And that they should be punished the same because they are the same. And Destiny was making the argument that no, crack cocaine specifically ravaged communities, which is also correct. Okay, here's the thing: the difference between crack and powder cocaine. Obviously, it's the route of the ROA, right? You smoke crack, and when you smoke drugs, you, in general, the bioavailability is higher. It comes on quicker. And with cocaine, that is the case. Okay, smoking crack is like an instantaneous. I've talked to you about this. Okay, we have a phrase in the crack world, okay, called getting your bell rung. Okay,
Oh
and this is
yeah.
a thing that happens when you take a really good hit of crack. Your ears ring. You get this like buzzing in your head. Um, it's crazy, but yeah, you don't get that from snorting cocaine. Okay, uh, and I have a hot take when it comes to coke. Okay, like I don't want to encourage anyone to do drugs. So let's see if I can modify this take. How about I say this? Okay. I actually think that I would never do this, but I actually think that I could do a former drug addict could do cocaine right now and be fine. I could do some coke, hang out, and be completely fine and not do any the next day. Like I said, I would never do that. It's just not worth it to me. But I think I could. If I smoked crack, okay, if I smoked crack, I'd be fucking robbing someone like in fucking 6 hours to get more crack. Okay, that is the difference between crack and cocaine. Okay, have people sucked dick for powder cocaine? I'm sure many have. However, at
What's so
least
special about the baking soda that just suddenly damn, there's
it's
just
the
something about the baking soda.
no, it's the smoking. Okay, it makes it smokable. Basically, you can smoke like powder cocaine, but it doesn't really work. Okay, it just like because what you have to do when you're smoking powders and stuff like that is you have to vaporize them. And I don't really want to get into too much. I don't want to too much drug education. Okay, let's just say that smoking powder in its powder form is really hard, and you waste a lot of the drug. When you add the baking soda and the water, and you cook it up and you get it into a solid form. You can pack it into the pipe easy, and it melts really easy, and you get a lot of smoke and vapor from it. And that's the difference, okay? And like I said, here's the difference. You know, I don't think very many people have sucked dick for cocaine. Maybe some, but not a lot. However, there have been so many people who have sucked dick for crack cocaine, all right? Same thing when we think about stealing. And it's not just a poverty thing, okay? I come from a middle class background, okay? Never wanted for anything in my life. I'm white. I stole like a motherfucker when I was doing heroin and crystal meth and crack, okay? It's because those drugs in those forms are particularly addicting and they drive people into doing things that they would not otherwise do, okay? It's a very common thing. Cocaine, I don't see it. Okay, I'm sure there are a lot of people, and I'm not encouraging anyone. No one, if it in my dream world, no one would do any drugs. I'd love to just get rid of drugs. I understand people can do them responsibly, and you know what? If you can do drugs responsibly, fucking go for it. But in my dream scenario, they just wouldn't exist. I mean, I'm a personal an attestament to the fact that you do not need drugs. Okay, trust me, you just don't. I used to think I needed drugs to be creative. Maybe my music kind of sucks now, but I can still pull it off. All right. You don't need drugs. So
I'm
here's my
telling you,
problem.
we're all about to go and like check out your YouTube channel. We're gonna be like, yo, this is the best shit we've ever
No, you're
heard.
not. No, you're not. It's not good. Okay.
I'm
Don't.
I'm expecting to literally have to sell all my Tame Impala albums because all I'm gonna want is Turtle albums from now on.
No. No, you're not. Trust me. Okay. It's not. It's not good. Okay. Here's. It's also
This is going in
sometimes.
the garbage because I have Turtle albums now.
Yes. Yes. Get rid of all your modern Zoomer music. Okay. I guess Tame Impala is not Zoomer music, but I do like Tame Impala actually.
Okay.
Actually, we've never talked about music. We can get into that. But anyway, let me close out this fanatic take. Okay, here's my problem with the fanatic take: is he was really trying to imply and sort of logic lord his way around the fact that crack and cocaine are the same thing. Okay, and although technically they are pharmacologically the same, um, and you could make an argument that similar amounts should carry the same sentence, but I would argue that crack is particularly harmful and that it does ravage communities. And it is how senators and congresspeople got away with really heavy legislation because people were asking for it because their communities were getting fucked. And Fanatic made a good point about how the modern opioid crisis, because it's white people typically, we're putting more attention on it. I agree with that 100%. I think he's right. I think if a bunch of black people were doing heroin, yeah, we'd probably do the same thing like we did with crack. We'd probably make harsher punishments, and I 100% agree. However, there is a reason why crack is more harshly punished than cocaine, and part of it is racial, 100%, but part of it is the fact that crack is particularly dangerous and addicting. Okay, so this is my PSA, kids, is please, okay, all of you, do not smoke crack. Okay, just trust me. Don't smoke crack. Powder cocaine. If you want to play a video game, okay, in a video game, you want to go out to the bar with your friends in the video game and do a couple lines of cocaine in a video game.
In Minecraft, yeah.
In Minecraft, that might be okay. You might be okay. You know, I would say it's probably not smart, but you could do it. I don't want you and your friends in a video game to smoke crack. Okay, never, ever. I would never recommend anyone try it even once. So yeah, I wanted to make sure that I sort of solidified that.
Hey,
Good story,
like,
bro.
honestly, I I think a lot of times when you do hear the crack is wackio argument, it's always from like, you know, people, Steve Buscemi looking ass people just being like, crack is whack, kids. How do you do, fellow children? So I think hearing it directly from somebody that's like, no, don't fucking do it. Especially because, like, obviously you didn't get to go into it this time, but like, uh, I have a rule. If it brings me any closer to sucking dick to have it, I ain't doing it. Period. I
Good
think
rule to live by.
self-talkers that's actually a great that's a great yeah, that's a great rule to live by. And you didn't like go into it this time, but like yeah, you told me there's been times where you've gone through like $600 worth like in a day. That Do you know how much I could
Easy.
yeah, do you know what I could do with $600? I could buy like 80 packs of cat ears. Far more mileage than going ahead and like getting 1 day's worth of something. Like, man,
Crack is a very bingy drug. Because it's very fast. It hits you hard and fast, and it goes away, and you just want more, 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 more. So yeah, it's cheap. Like one hit is cheap, okay, but you're gonna do one hit, and it's gonna drive you fucking insane until you can get more. You know, it's one of those drugs. Heroin's not like that, actually. Um, Heroin, once you're high, you're good until you come down in a couple hours or whatever. But crack is one of those, like, meth's the same way too. You do a little bit of meth, like, you're good, okay. But crack's one of those, you got to keep feeding the beast. You just got to keep going and going. And yes, like you said, I have spent easily $600 in one day on crack. Yep.
yeah. Honestly, I think I might start calling up Ohio legislators and saying, you know what? There's this guy that you need to start having come to all of your middle schools, and I think the kids are gonna come out really conflicted. They're gonna be like, okay, so what you're saying is I can do anything but crack, and you're like, yes. And then
Basically, don't do crack, heroin, or meth, okay? Those are my big three, children. Never touch those. The other ones, I highly recommend not doing it, but if you gotta experiment or whatever, you know.
yeah. So would you say you're one of those people that would advocate for like decriminalization of all
I
drugs, or
I think we should do 100% legalization. And I think that we should do like what they did in Switzerland and like what they're doing in Portugal. I think. I think the numbers there speak for themselves. And I think my my position, which has evolved over time. You gotta understand, in the AA world, which is kind of one of the ways I got clean, I got sent to jail, then I got sent to a 90-day rehab, and then I did AA for a couple years. In the AA world, it's very strict. Okay, we AA and NA, we fucking hate drugs, and we don't even let people. Most AA places won't even let people in that are on Suboxone, which is the thing they give to opiate addicts to get off of street drugs. I got clean cold turkey in jail, which is the best way to get clean in my humble opinion. But yeah, AA is very strict. So most of the people around there have very strict views on drugs. And I kind of had those views at first. I didn't think that harsh punishment, because I've always been a lefty, so I don't think harsh punishments are the way to go. But I didn't know if I was comfortable with legalization because I directly knew how harmful those drugs were. However, seeing what places like Switzerland have done, and my position has evolved over time. I think I've evolved into this harm reduction sort of stance, is my general stance on drugs, which is why I think needle exchanges. I contracted hepatitis C because I couldn't. They wouldn't sell me. Pharmacies around here would not sell me needles. They refused, even though you don't need a prescription in the state of Ohio. They would refuse to sell junkies needles, which honestly, I'd love to go to all those places now and fucking shame those people. Those are horrible people. I understand why they don't want to sell junkies needles, but I think that's evil. You're encouraging them to go spread diseases around.
How can you
And
tell who has
you can
who's
tell
a
what a
junkie?
junkie looks like. Trust
Oh,
me. And
okay.
I bet you if you work at a pharmacy, you've seen many a junkie coming in asking for diabetic syringes.
Okay. Yeah, that's strange. Like, yeah,
I,
that they
I
would
think we should
just.
I think we should set up those legalization like centers where people can go in and get clean needles, and maybe even like do like what they did in Switzerland, which is have the government operate a program where you get a dose and they monitor you, because that's the other problem with the opioid crisis here is like what killed me multiple times is fentanyl, right? Um, it's just plain old unsafe and people are dying. I'd rather have like a nurse like shoot people up with a monitored dose or whatever, and people can have their sickness at least gone away for the day and and not be spreading diseases around to fucking everyone. And I think we would see the numbers go down, especially when you take any sort of profit that you get from these places and directly fund rehab. And I think my views on rehab, I like mixed systems. Like I think a little bit of AA is good, even though I had problems with AA because I'm not religious, and it's a very religious program, but I got over it. Okay, I dealt with it. And actually, what was great about AA is it was good training for talking to conservatives and people who I disagree with politically, and getting along with them. Right? I would challenge people at AA all the time, very religious guys who had been like clean for 40 years. And I'd be like, no, I don't think that your God is real. I wouldn't say it like that, um, but I
Can
would
I hear
argue,
you,
I'd
little
be like,
shit?
I would argue my positions, and to be fair to those guys, they were always really nice to me, and they would always listen to me, and it was a good space to train my sort of rhetoric skills against people who I disagreed with, I guess.
Yeah. Um, I guess you're not. Obviously, you're not a lawyer, and you weren't there, etc. And like, I think we already know based off of the court case and everything, like what happened. But as someone that's like been on fentanyl, is there any chance that someone could just have died and like it would not have been due to asphyxiation at all from like the Minneapolis case, or was
I'm
that
so
like
glad. I'm so glad you brought this up because this was something that I spent the last year fucking trying to tell people that they're fucking idiots, okay? If you think that George Floyd fucking died from fentanyl, you're a fucking idiot, okay? I'm practicing my rhetoric skills, all right? Fuck you. You're a fucking idiot, okay? You know nothing about drugs.
this
Okay?
is a
Let me
th-
let me tell
you're ready for Rob Door?
let me tell you something about fentanyl, okay? When you overdose on fentanyl, guess what? You fucking lose consciousness, okay? You completely lose consciousness when you overdose. You definitely don't have the wherewithal to cry for help and cry for your fucking mother if you're overdosing on fentanyl, all right? If he overdosed on fentanyl, he would have been fucking unconscious, okay? Facts, okay? When you overdose on opiates, sometimes there's a lapse in time, but it's not very long, okay? Every time I overdosed, it was instant. I would bang it, and about 30 seconds later, I'd be out cold. Okay? That's in general, on average, that's how it goes. Some people I've seen go a couple minutes, 10 minutes. If you make it 10 minutes, you're not going to OD. Okay? I can tell you that. If you shoot up and you've made it 5, 10 minutes and you're not unconscious, you made it. You didn't overdose. He didn't overdose. People who think he overdosed are idiots. And I think most of them are obviously bad faith and want to push some sort of agenda, obviously.
So there'll never be a time where, I go ahead, hit up like fentanyl, like, go to the gym, have some conversation,
No,
and then I just end up ODing like 5 hours later. That's
no.
okay.
I could see if he also, it was only fentanyl, right? And maybe marijuana. Does anyone know? There was no crystal meth in his system, correct?
No, the only thing I ever heard anybody talk about was fentanyl.
Actually, though, that defeat my own point, because my point is, meth can sort of counteract the opioid a little bit. But I guess that would actually reinforce my point if he was on meth, because that would reinforce the point that he didn't die from an overdose. And anyway, this was all litigated in court, obviously, and I think, in my humble opinion, like you said, I'm not a lawyer, but I think, you know, justice was served, whatever that means. Obviously, justice will probably never be served for black people in this country, but in that specific case, I think the correct. And I'm a pretty liberal guy when it comes to like rehabilitative rehabilitative justice. And honestly, here, you want my hot take? I think that Derek Chauvin can be rehabilitated. I truly do believe that. I am a personal, survivor and success story. Survivors, actually, I would retract that.
Actually, it says he apparently had fentanyl and methamphetamine in his system.
Okay, then there's no way he died of an overdose. Okay, it's zero chance.
Okay.
And you'll see people probably make. You see, he had meth and look at all the drugs. Like, no, you don't understand. Okay, the fact that there's meth in his system makes it less likely that he would have died from it, because meth overdoses are basically non-existent. Actually, statistically, they are very rare. And yeah, and like I said, the meth in your system would make it less likely that you would overdose on the fentanyl.
Okay. Then I'm very happy that I got to ask that because, obviously, I don't think anybody was sitting there like in good faith, like, I wonder, but like, it's good to know because, yeah, from what it sounds like, it never seemed like, you went, played hopscotch with your friends at the park and then, you got back home, start making dinner and just like KO'd. Yeah.
After watching that video, I honestly don't understand how anyone could. What's weird about conservatives too, that I think is funny, and I think it's proof that we're doomed on the left, is that the right is very good at consolidating positions and getting behind a talking point. Because if you remember, I remember, because I live on this fucking computer because of COVID. I never leave this goddamn. I work and school and Twitch. I do all right here in this spot. Okay, look, my guitar's there, my amp's right there. Everything's right. I have like a cockpit. Anyway, um, I remember what the conservative position right when Floyd's murder happened and the footage was released. I heard conservatives, like the ones that were going on Dylan's panel, say it was a horrible atrocity and fuck that cop. I think even Rob Noor said that, if I remember correctly. Maybe it wasn't Rob. Maybe it was CTV. I remember CTV flipping out about the January 6th riots too, and then he walked that back too. But they do this a lot, right? This is my point. They all had this position that it was crazy and fucked up, and then once that someone invented that drug narrative, they latched onto it, and every one of them latched onto it, and they all got behind the same talking point, right? And the left refuses to do that. And by perfect example, this kink discourse is the perfect example of this, right? We can't lock together, and obviously that's a good thing. That means that we're, for the most part, being somewhat honest on our, or not grifting or whatever. I know that's a hot buzzword. I kind of hate that word, but
Yeah,
um,
it's a hot one right now, the word grift, but
my and
um
well, I was gonna say the left's fucked too, because like I was gonna bring up the Vosh charity stream.
yeah.
I know
Oh.
a lot of people I follow on Twitter hate Vosh. Okay, yeah, I love leftism and shit, and I study a lot. So I'm an English major, and I study a lot of crit theory. So I love Karl Marx and everything, and I think most people would probably define me as a sock dem or whatever, because I'm not a revolutionary. I'm not an ML or anything, but I do think that Marx is right about a lot of stuff, and I think that if you, I'm a sock dem in the sense that like I think everything should pretty much be worker owned. I just don't want revolutionary action, and I think certain things should be government run. Whatever. We don't have to get into the weeds on that. My point is though, I do disagree with a lot of communists, and like revolutionary types. And it's nothing personal, you know. We just disagree on the methodology and how to get there, right? Although some of them get into the weeds with genocide denying and I'm also a history buff too, and people that sort of rewrite history on Joey Stalin. That is a yikes and a half. Okay, don't defend Stalin. Okay, you
But
can
like,
say that he did a couple things good. Okay, I obviously, you know, obviously the USSR rapidly developed. Okay, but that guy was a terrible person, and I highly recommend the Death of Stalin. I think it's called. It's a movie with Steve Buscemi. Uh, and Buscemi plays Nikita Khrushchev, and it's about the death of
oh,
Stalin.
yes,
It's
okay.
hilarious.
Yeah, I was thinking about watching it because I was watching somebody critique this movie that came out recently that was supposed to be a satire of like Bernie Sanders' life that like ended up being like really cringe, but the person was going ahead and giving some other examples of satirical biopic movies, and yeah, that the Stalin was one of them. So I was considering going ahead and checking it out. So
I
now you've reminded me. So
I
I'm putting
highly
that
highly
into
recommend it.
yeah, that's going to be added to the Bootstrap Cabal's movie nights because the first one that we're planning on watching, of course, is Hereditary. But yeah, we'll definitely go ahead and add that. I'm really excited. Yeah,
Fucking
don't you?
watch Ari Aster is a genius. Okay, watch Mr. So, but for chat too, I'm a huge movie buff. I was this close to going to film school. Okay, I have no background in it. Okay, I just love. I'm obsessive about. I'm an obsessive person. I think my drug history can sort of attest to that. I'm a fucking obsessive person. Okay, I get obsessed by things. I get obsessed by sex, drugs, obviously, but like I early on I went through a movie phase and I got obsessed by movies. Weird. My uncle turned me on to weird music and weird movies. Um. Anyway, Ari Aster I think is sort of the next. I honestly think he's sort of the next great American filmmaker. One of them. Like I would say Denny. Well, he's not American. He's Canadian actually. Denny Villeneuve. And Alex Garland is an American. So yeah, I would say Ari Aster is one of the top American ones. And yeah, after you watch Hereditary, make sure you watch Midsummer too. And people seem to like
Oh
Midsummer
yeah,
less. I like it more. It's actually more my style movie to be honest. Because it's not as straight horror as Hereditary. They're great. Both.
yeah,
Oh,
and right now, Boyd's saying, "Hey, you like weird music? We need to talk." So
oh fuck yeah, dude! I love weird shit. I'm all about weird shit. Hey, Boyji, actually, Um, it's not even that weird, but my favorite band, I tell people all the time, and I want to recommend everyone in chat go listen to this band. They're called Frank Black and the Catholics. Um, I'm sure everyone's heard of the Pixies, right? It's the
yeah.
Pixies, pretty well-known indie band. The singer of the Pixies, it's the first band he started after the Pixies broke up. So he did 2 solo records, maybe it was 3. He did 2 or 3 solo records after the last Pixies record, and then he started this band with Lau Workman. And it's all of their albums are like I'm obsessed. My uncle showed me all of Frank Black. Frank Black is my like greatest inspiration, basically.
You were now required to drop your favorite song in chat before yeah,
Oh
because
no.
Boydji says yeah, the Pixies are good. So
Okay, so
this
start with Doggone. It's called Doggone. Just start there. It's very mild, pretty poppy sort of song that sort of warm you up. And then Dog in the Sand is another song, and that record's also great. And then after that, I would just put the first record on. It's called Frank Black and the Catholics. It's got a really stupid cover. Um, it's like it's like gold with this weird like tribal looking 3D. It's stupid. You'll know it when you see it. Okay, it's terrible. But the first Frank Black and the Catholics record. Listen to that. My other great recommendation that my uncle turned me on to, and unfortunately the guy who is this band passed away a while ago. He killed himself, but called Sparkle Horse. Okay? And Sparkle Horse, I don't even know if I can make a recommendation. Saturday is probably the song I would go with. However, Sparkle Horse is best listened to in a complete sort of sense. Like, grab the Viva Dixie album, or Good Morning Spider or something, and just listen to it front to back.
You
Most
know
of the
what this
bands I
sounds like?
recommend are meant to be listened to front to back.
It sounds like we're gonna have to go and make a new channel on the server called Music, where we all just sit there and like
That's
spam
a
our licks. Yeah,
that's a great idea.
I'm definitely gonna go ahead and do that. So, Turtle, do you have any final memes for chat before I go and beat up everybody in the next Prime Royale right now?
Keck W, Poggers Squad W, what other memes? Monka W, Keck W, Squad W. Also fucking Bootstrap W. Listen, I do
Bootstrap
want to say,
W.
listen, listen, before we go, chat, I just want you all to know I fucking love all of you. And in like a romantic and sexual way too, honestly. And if I could just go ahead and take this moment to I'd like to profess my love for a very specific person, okay? Their name is Popota. Okay, I just want you to know that I've always loved you, okay, from the moment that I met you, and you sent me a video on Twitter of a zero gravity cum shot, okay? You had me at zero gravity cum shot, okay? I just want you to know this. And chat, you guys can all share me, okay? That's all. I'm a slut basically. So I'm slut for chat.
Eh,
All right, I
Hey,
love you guys.
and chat, don't forget, he no longer has hepatitis C, so he's single and ready to fucking pringle like a
Clean bill of
champ.
health.
Chat's like shit. Perfect though. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was great to speak to you. We're definitely gonna have to go ahead and have conversations again. If when I go ahead and make my way down to Confederate land, also known as America, I will definitely make sure I let you know. And for anybody else in chat, we'll also I'll keep you posted too when I feel like visiting Confederate land. And until then, we are gonna go ahead and switch into debate bro mode. But it was great to hang out with you today, and definitely when I post a video on YouTube, I'll make sure I link your YouTube channel because I'm trying to have everybody come and say, "Damn, Turtle's a mastermind, bitch! You don't need coke. You got the music in your hands."
Luckily, I have no shame, so if people come and just shit on me too, I'll be completely fine. Because like, I have zero shame or dignity left. So bring
That's
me your
fair.
worst.
Honestly, like I think we're both out here with very little shame. Look, I got married for the culture, so
Yeah, for wokeness, it's like that's
for
what you should tell people. I got married for woke points.
yeah, I got married, and if you didn't, it's because you're a bigot. So yeah, okay. So
All right,
I will go ahead and see you now in the interwebs. If you plan on watching the debate, otherwise,
I'll be I'll be in I'll be in chat. All right, I love you. I'll DC. Bye.
bye.